Thank you for joining us. My name is Kevin Spurway. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at Altosoft, and with me today is Richard Rabin, a Senior Systems Engineer here. Today's webcast is all about making Microsoft-Centric business intelligence work, making it easier, faster, more cost-effective, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick it off by talking about solutions based on SQL Server or for SQL Server-based data integration. I'm then going to hand things over to Richard, who's going to demonstrate how Altosoft's MetricSmart solution makes things very easy in this area. I'm then going to follow this up with some comments on our SharePoint native dashboards and reporting capabilities, and Richard will then take the opportunity to show you how that works as well. So what you'll see is a live view of how agile and how effective Microsoft-centric business intelligence can be with Altosoft. Just as an FYI, today's webinar is being recorded. We'll make a replay available from our website, www.altosoft.com. And then at the end of the webinar, we'll open things up for questions and answers, and you'll have the opportunity to ask us anything that might be on your mind right then and there. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it here. In today's environment, of course, it's all about doing more with less. And organizations that have adopted a Microsoft-centric approach generally have made a proactive decision to embrace a cost-effective, very efficient approach to IT. But all too often in the area of BI, we see organizations that are still experiencing some significant challenges even though they've gone that Microsoft direction. In some cases, they're struggling with manual data integration processes. Sometimes organizations are finding that standard Microsoft approaches to data integration are too complicated, too time-consuming, and inefficient. And other organizations are actually still frustrated with the speed and inherent difficulty in building and delivering dashboards and reports using the Microsoft environment and Microsoft technologies. But it doesn't have to be this hard. In fact, Altosoft makes Microsoft-centric BI work very effectively and very easily by delivering capabilities in what we consider to be three major areas. The first is SQL Server-based data integration. That's the ability to aggregate and integrate from multiple data sources into an optimized SQL Server-based mart. Second is native SharePoint dashboards. That's fast, easy development and deployment of interactive dashboards directly within the SharePoint environment. And third is BI proliferation. That's the ability to extend the dashboard and reporting delivery beyond the SharePoint environment to a broader set of users within your organization or potentially outside of your organization to other people within the value chain. So in each of these three areas, we deliver functionality and scalability that's sufficient for the most demanding enterprise, but maybe most importantly in this environment, our objective and our goal, which I think you'll see in Richard's demonstration we meet very well, is to keep things fast, easy, and highly cost-effective. And the result is your organization and your clients get better Microsoft-based solutions faster and with less project risk. So just kind of jumping into it here, the first of these elements is typically a data integration challenge. So integrating and preparing data from disparate systems for analysis consistently is the most challenging aspect of business intelligence solution development. And generally, it's the biggest barrier to achieving truly responsive business intelligence within your organization. This is true for pretty much any environment, and of course that includes Microsoft-centric architectures. And the challenges here are probably pretty familiar to most of this audience. For example, you may have multiple data sources, which might be operational systems like ERP, databases, existing warehouses, flat files, or even event-based systems. You also may have large amounts of data and operational systems that can't actually be burdened on an ongoing intraday basis with a lot of queries coming from your business intelligence system. So the question, of course, is how can you efficiently bring this data together in a single warehouse or mart or database so that you can analyze it easily and monitor it and report on it? Well, generally, traditionally, you're stuck with sort of the same old solutions and the same old approaches. And of course, on your left of this diagram, you see the various data sources that we've talked about. One option, of course, is just generally to take the manual approach, to use manual processes to build marts directly from data sources, and then, of course, layer your business intelligence solutions over those marts and analyze the data in those marts sort of on a tactical basis. But of course, this consumes a lot of time and resources, and especially as your reporting and analysis demands increase and the number of applications that you're supporting with those increase, marks have a tendency to proliferate. Ultimately, this approach limits your ability to extend the footprint of BI deeper into the organization because you have a problem with building and maintaining too many marks. Another option is to use SSIS, SQL Server Integration Services, as an ETL solution to build a warehouse. And of course, that approach involves moving all of your data from the operational systems into this central warehouse, and then again, building marts or cubes on top of that warehouse to service tactical, organizational, analysis, or reporting requirements. And of course, this approach has problems as well. First of all, typically you're still not going to be able to get all that data that you might need into the data warehouse using SSIS, especially if that data is event-based. Generally speaking, traditional ETL approaches are not good at dealing with event-based data sources, and you may want to be able to monitor and analyze those in your environment. In particular, be able to understand those in context with traditional data that's existing in relational tables. SSIS, of course, is a powerful solution, but it's also extremely complicated and complex, and in many cases, if not most cases, it's actually overkill to the job that you really need, which is ultimately getting these marts ready for analysis. Traditional ETL is also limited to moving all of your data into the warehouse. They're not selective or strategic about the data that's actually being moved. So if you really think about that, it's a pretty inefficient approach. And of course, that approach also doesn't give you an automated way to build the marts with the query-optimized data that you really need, and ultimately your business intelligence solution is really going to be directly analyzing and interacting with. So building and maintaining these proliferating marts is still time-consuming and expensive, even though you're using SSIS, and theoretically taking away some of the manual tasks that you otherwise might be faced with. Altosoft's MetricSmart product is basically designed to bring agility and flexibility to this problem of SQL Server-based data integration. MetricSmart, first and foremost, is targeted. It delivers pre-calculated, optimized KPI data directly into a self-maintaining SQL Server-based mart. And of course, this data can come from any data source, whether it's an existing warehouse, or whether it's an operational system directly, whether it's a flat file, a spreadsheet, or of course, even event-based data like TIBCO or BizTalk. MetricSmart is highly efficient. It automatically minimizes the load on data sources with what we call intelligent data aggregation, or IDA technology. Unlike traditional data integration approaches, this IDA approach only moves the data necessary to calculate the key metrics that businesses need to understand their performance. So everything ultimately is driven by the analytical requirements of the business user. Data from source systems is accessed and converted to KPI metrics on an on-demand basis. So business users identify the refresh rate they need for a particular metric. They identify what that metric is and the source of data that's required to calculate that metric. And basically what happens is MetricSmart reaggregates and calculates that metric accordingly. MetricSmart is very powerful. The architecture delivers extremely high performance because any data aggregation, integration, or calculation is processed using MetricSmart's in-memory engine. And what that does is it eliminates significant query load from your source systems, which actually makes MetricSmart more efficient than SSIS or any other traditional ETL options in terms of placing a very minimal load on those operational data sources. That same in-memory engine calculates the results of the KPIs that business users need to understand and then persists those into the target SQL Server-based mart in a standard openly accessible format. So it can work with any business intelligence tool. Of course, we recommend using our business intelligence tools to analyze and display that in a dashboard or in a report. But if you have an investment in another area, that'll work as well. The key is that data persisted in the target mart is fully dimensioned and extremely well organized and can be queried from any existing BI solution within your enterprise. Finally, MetricSmart is also process-aware in the sense that it employs our optional process intelligence engine, which is a state engine that can track business processes within your enterprise, even if they're occurring across multiple back-end systems or operational systems. And what that enables you to do is easily monitor, analyze, and optimize your operational processes. And that's something that no other BI solution can deliver without significant custom development. So there's huge value there if your goal is to increase your process performance and optimize the operational performance of those business processes, which of course in this environment is essential if you want to reduce costs and achieve competitive advantage.